You know that feeling, right? Where you're just drowning in information. You've got articles, videos, notifications, all of it coming at you 24/7, and it's almost impossible to figure out what's actually important. Well, today we're going to break down a really powerful mental model built for that exact problem. It's called the general theory of cognitive triangulation, and honestly, it might just change how you look at everything.
This quote from the theory's creator, Albert just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures the core problem of our world today. We have access to basically infinite information, but our brains, our attention spans, they're very finite. So the game isn't about getting more information anymore. It's about finding the right information.
And that's the big question, isn't it? With all that noise out there, the opinions, the clickbait, the hot takes, the half-truths, how do you reliably find the signal? How do you build a clear, accurate picture of what's going on without getting completely overwhelmed or worse, misled? It's a huge challenge, but this framework offers a really fascinating solution.
And here it is. This is Albert Tan's answer, the general theory of cognitive triangulation. It's not just another productivity hack or a little life tip. It's a whole new way to structure your thinking, a framework designed to help you build a more resilient, more reliable understanding of reality itself.
So, what's the end goal here? What are we trying to achieve? Well, the theory calls it sustainable intellectual fidelity. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. It's not about reaching some finish line where you know everything. Instead, it's about getting into a flexible, balanced state of mind, a kind of dynamic equilibrium, so that when new or confusing information comes your way, your thinking doesn't just shatter. Okay, so how do we get to that dynamic equilibrium? The whole theory is built on three core ideas, or as Tan calls them, three pillars. These are the foundations for clear, effective thinking. Let's dig into each one. Pillar number one is objective fidelity. We can just think of this as truth. This is the bedrock, your anchor to reality. It's a deep commitment to what is factually correct, what can be verified with evidence and data. Without this, everything else is just floating in space. Your whole worldview has to be grounded in what's real. Next up, pillar two, expansive inquiry, or, curiosity. See, it's not enough to just cling to the facts you already know. This pillar is the engine. It's that active drive to ask questions, to poke holes in your own assumptions, to seek out different perspectives, and to always be looking for new information. This is what keeps your understanding from getting stale and rigid.
Now, the third pillar is where things get really fascinating. It's called heuristic optimization, but let's call it aesthetics. I know, it sounds a little weird to talk about beauty when we're talking about truth-seeking, but this is absolutely critical. This is all about clarity and elegance. It's the skill of taking a really complex topic and boiling it down into a simple, memorable, even beautiful model. A great explanation isn't just true, it's also easy to understand.
So, there they are. Truth, curiosity, and aesthetics. Now, this is super important. Even though it looks like a list of steps, these are not steps you do in order. Think of them more like the three legs of a stool. You need all three at the same time, working together, to create a stable base for your thinking. If one leg is missing, the whole thing falls over.
And that brings us to the absolute heart of this whole theory, dynamic equilibrium. Because it's not enough to just have the three pillars. The real magic, the whole point, is in the balance between them. If any one pillar gets too weak or even too strong, the entire structure of your understanding can get wobbly and fall apart.
Tan actually uses this term, dynamic three-body equilibrium, to describe it. And a great way to think about it is like planets held in orbit by each other's gravity. Each pillar pulls on the others and is pulled on by the others. Truth grounds your curiosity so it doesn't fly off into fantasy. Curiosity expands your search for more truth, and aesthetics helps you organize and make sense of it all. They have to work in harmony.
This slide shows perfectly what happens when that balance gets thrown off. Let's just walk through it. Look at that first one. If you have tons of curiosity and you love a beautifully simple explanation, the aesthetics, but you're missing truth, you end up falling for beautifully told lies and conspiracy theories. Okay, now the second one. If you have truth in a really elegant system but you lack curiosity, you get stuck in rigid dogma, completely unwilling to update your beliefs even when new facts come along. And finally, if you're missing aesthetics, even with all the truth and curiosity in the world, you just end up drowning in a sea of data, totally overwhelmed with zero actual insight. So what do we do with this? Well, the theory isn't just some abstract idea. It's a practical tool you can use. By thinking about these three pillars in your own life, you can start to consciously balance your own approach to learning and understanding. You can start finding your signal in all that noise. Look, if you remember just one thing from this, let it be this. Building real, lasting knowledge isn't about mastering one skill. It's about maintaining a constant, dynamic balance between three things: your commitment to truth, your endless drive of curiosity, and your appreciation for the simple elegance of aesthetics. That right there is the core of cognitive triangulation.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. As you go about your day consuming information and trying to make sense of the world, which of your three pillars needs a little more work? Are you grounded enough in the facts? Are you curious enough to keep exploring? Or do you need to find simpler, clearer ways to structure what you already know? The balance is up to you.